Dear Diary, unfortunately we couldn't get our Qatari star boy on deadline day. The board did come back a day later to increase next season's transfer budget by a whopping £200,000. So that wouldn't have made any difference anyway. We have continued to mix our form a bit to start off September in the Championship. We took a 1-0 lead away at Peterborough, only for the semi-injured striker to grab 2 goals soon after to give them a 2-1 win. Disappointing, but thankfully we got back on track at home with a 3-2 win against Derby, albeit we nearly blew a 2-0 lead from half time in that game too, so hopefully that doesn't become a pattern. That leaves us third on the table prior to an interesting double, headed by a South Wales Derby against Swansea. Somehow they beat us in this fixture last season, so hopefully we can make amends for that before hosting Watford. They were doing quite well when we beat them in the FA Cup last season, so must have somehow tumbled down from mid-table in the Prem to end up here. Oh dear Bartley, hopefully 3 more points. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 47 of FMOE here on Shaun Does FM with Cardiff City, and coming up today is a double header in the Championship. First off, our first South Wales Derby of this season. We do travel to Swansea to take on Slaven Bilic's outfit off the back of a loss in our first meeting last season. Off the back of that, it is another rematch from last season. This time we take on Watford, who were there mid-table in the Premier League. Still not quite sure how they plummeted after that to end up down here in the Championship. But if you are looking forward to those games coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we have played 2 games off the back of the end of yesterday's episode, which did include the last 2 games in August, as well as transfer deadline day, which didn't quite go to plan. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner as shown. During the intro, our form continues to be a little bit mixed off the back of that loss in the first game yesterday against Fylde from League 2. We unfortunately blew a 1-0 lead against Peterborough. The slightly injured striker Joey Shaun grabbed 2 goals right before half time to cancel out an opener to Marco Blun, and we didn't find a way to grab an equaliser in that one. A slightly disappointing result there, even though it was away from home against the team who were expected to finish a little bit below us this season in the Championship. But thankfully, off the back of that, we got the job done at home against another team who have been promoted from League 1 at the end of last season in Derby County. We took a 2-0 lead right before half-time. We nearly blew it in the second half thanks to conceding an early goal, and then just one strange own goal, which Urhog Hyde put between the feet of our goalkeeper in Mexado off of a pretty weak shot from one of the Derby attackers. But thankfully, Aaron Molinas did come off the bench and scored another goal. He's looking quite good so far this season. Probably the best of our signings so far, and that goal did make sure that thankfully we did not bottle things and we did grab all 3 points. And as you would have seen as well, that does keep us up the right end of the table, 2 points behind Nottingham Forest and Sunderland on top with 6 games played. Hopefully we can sneak our way up that table a little bit further off the back of these next 2 games. But first up, we are taking on Swansea. As seen before, we have a terrible recent record against these guys. As a club, they did beat us 1-0 in this exact fixture once we did take over here last season, albeit it was a game we didn't play that badly in, but somehow we did end up not getting a point out of that, despite the fact that in the overall season, we did finish above these guys. This is a game our fans really, really want us to win, as you would expect, in a South Welsh Derby. And I think from memory, their team compared to last season does look quite similar, also playing a 4-2-3-1. They definitely have the same goalkeeper at the very least, so hopefully this time, even though it is away from home again, we can pick up a result against our Welsh rivals. And off the back of that, we take on Watford. And as mentioned when I was previewing this game a little bit during yesterday's episode, I still haven't been able to figure out how these guys actually ended up down here in the Championship, because when we took them on in the early stages of the FA Cup last season and bet them 1-0, they were mid-table in the Premier League in 11th spot. So from there, they must have had a dreadful end to the season. Marcelinho is still in charge. Their team obviously a little bit different looking now with the players that they would have had to sell, albeit still some quite familiar names in that team, the likes of Vandenberg, Sarr, they've got Turnbull, I think he's a Celtic midfielder in real life, and also Liam Delap up front, who was on loan at Nottingham Forest last season, so certainly an interesting Watford lineup there. Probably one of the tougher teams that we are going to take on this season, even though it is at home in terms of the season preview, where those teams were expected to finish. Watford were expected to be right in that playoff hunt, as you would expect from a relegated team from the Premier League, and Swansea just below us on that season preview. So these are going to be two quite tough games, considering that Swansea one is away from home. Now, in terms of our tactic going into this one, we have just made a slight change that we did do prior to that game where we did take on Derby County. We were quite passive, trying to get the ball back. So what we have done because of that is move up to a high press line of engagement. I think that actually suits us because the board do want us to play a high pressing game. So we are going to implement that. It kind of worked there against Derby County without that second half collapse. So hopefully it also works today here against Swansea and Watford, and might get us back on track and being just that little bit more consistent, even though we're still doing a decent job here at the start of the Championship season. In terms of our team going into this one, no injury concerns. We'll come back shortly and run you guys through the team sheets for the first game of today's episode as we take on Swansea in the first South Welsh Derby of the season. And here are the team sheets for this first game of today's episode, the South Welsh Derby. There are Swansea playing with their 4-2-3-1, quite similar to what we saw before. On the club info page, we've just made one change. Goodmanson comes in for Mateju at left back. He is on a medium match load, Mateju on a heavy one. And also these days, attribute-wise, very, very similar. So we're certainly coming for that starting left back spot, but that's our only change. And hopefully we can win our first derby here at Cardiff City. And less than 5 minutes into this one, we get our first highlight here, a free kick to Swansea. Thankfully, we hit that one away. And Galasay here with a good chance to do something on the counter-attack. It's 3 versus 2. Robinson inside the box from a tight angle, but unfortunately his shot is blocked. And they will try now and play out from the back. Will Swansea City already? You can see we're trying to win that ball up the field a little bit higher. Thankfully, that tackle there from Rels was a safe one and not a foul, but that is what I wanted from going to that higher press, because we were just sitting a bit deeper and allowing teams to take their time to play out from the back. Nice ball there for Bloom from Robinson, but unfortunately, I think that was a tackle before Brun actually got that shot off, and then a decent save from the goalkeeper there for Swansea, but we do have a corner, which Rels is going to put into the mixer. A promising start here in the first 5 minutes. Erhog Hyde gets a lot of help from that far post, but thankfully it just creeps over the line, and that chance for Brun that was missed, albeit not too sure if it was entirely his fault, does not haunt us for too long. Nice hit of that from Erhog Hyde just inside that far post, and we grab an early 1-0 lead. And only a few minutes off the back of that opening goal, it was Swansea there in possession at the 10-minute mark, but thankfully we do win the ball back and get a chance here to do something, hopefully on the counter-attack, albeit we are taking our time here to play out from the back, but early stages is looking like a good start for us here in this derby, and a good chance here for Colwell. That's a great save though from Teresiano, and also apparently offside to still hold a 1-0 lead coming up to the 15-minute mark. And just shy of 20 minutes into this one, we do get our next highlight of throwing inside our own half, but so far we are looking threatening from the limited highlights we have had in this one. Hopefully we can grab a cushion goal and this time hold on to it. Colwell tries to play a ball forward there, but unfortunately it goes nowhere near Brun, and Swansea now get a chance to play out from the back, albeit loose touch there from the right back or right winger. Now Colwell, though, unfortunately does miss out on the ball. He goes up to put pressure on the goalkeeper, wins it back, and just does enough to beat the goalkeeper. Ruben Colwell with his first goal of the season so far our cams kind of picking up the slack from our strikers, I think it's fair to say. But that is an absolute gift there from Cristiano off the back of a few good saves to start this one. There you can see that high pressing line coming to trumps for us there, and we grab a 2-0 lead at the 20-minute mark. And yet again, only a few minutes off the back of that previous highlight and goal, we do win the ball again there off Swansea, so it does look like today this high pressing line is paying dividends. Might be something which does stick around, and Goodmanson here puts the ball into the mixer. It goes out to Coventry. Shot, it deflects, and Ruben Colwell grabs a double. Apparently, it might be a Marco Brun assist, which might be the jammiest assist you will ever see. Goodmanson here puts the ball into the mixer. Still quite happy though, because we are now 3-0 up. Coventry off the shot. Comes off the back of Brun. Colwell puts it away, and I think Brun will get an assist. Indeed he will. That jammy boy. 3-0 up here with 20 minutes to go in the first half in the South Welsh Derby. And that is half time in our first clash of today's episode. We hold a very nice 3-0 lead here away from home against Swansea City. 3 goals, 1 to Erhog, and then a double to Colwell, albeit both of his goals pretty fortunate. Marco Brun would probably be on a terrible rating if not for that assist off his back, which he had no idea about. But to be fair, we are playing quite well. So we'll tell the boys here we might go down a little bit further, in fact, and just make sure that they do keep their focus in the second half, unlike our previous game against Derby, but going very well so far. We'll get things back underway with that 3-goal lead. And only a few minutes into the second half, we're going to make an early substitution here, can play things safe with that 3-goal lead. Joe Ralls has picked up a yellow card, Andy Rinomota to come on for him. And 20 minutes left in this one, no highlights so far in the second half, not that we mind too much with that 3-goal lead. A few more substitutions, Perry Ing will come on for Ben Hardy, and Gulliside will come off for Gordon, both on red hearts. 20 minutes left, and still 3 goals up. And only 5 minutes later, we're going to make our last 2 substitutions. Still nothing happening in the second half, but Curtis Nelson can come on for Connor Coventry, can cover DM, and also Marco Brun can come off, despite the fact he is an assist. Not playing that well today. Atete will come on for him for these last 15 minutes. And inside the last few minutes of this one, unfortunately, there's been nothing happen at all during the second half, but thankfully we did all the damage in that first half. Pretty similar in the second half in terms of not much happening for either team in terms of XG, and in the end we pick up a very comfortable 3-0 win, our most comfortable so far of the championship season, and made all the sweeter by the fact it did come against our strongest rivals in Swansea. So that is a very, very good result, and hopefully might see us jump up the table a little bit prior to that second game of today's episode against a slightly tougher team, you would think, in Watford, formerly from the Premier League. And thanks to Middlesbrough picking up a 4-3 win away at Sunderland, as you can see just above my head, we have jumped up into the top 2, into one of those automatic promotion places. That is a good win for us today to start off this episode, and hopefully we can stay there as we take on Watford back at Cardiff City Stadium. We'll come back shortly with the team sheets for that one. And here are the team sheets for the second game of today's episode. 3 changes for us from that first game. Peering at right back, Curtis Nelson for McGuinness at centre back, and also Jacques for Robinson on the left wing. All of those players are quite injury prone, who they have come in for, to just playing things safe. And there were Watford, as we saw before. Quite a few interesting looking players on their team, so this could be a little bit tough, but hopefully we can pick up back-to-back wins, especially at home, where so far we've had quite a good record so far in this save since we have taken over. And there is a highlight immediately from the kickoff here as Goodmanson, who backs up off the back of a pretty good display in place of Mateju against Swansea. So he might be coming for that spot, as we did suggest could be the case once he did sign one of our more promising signings for this upcoming season. But now Galasay has the ball here, somewhat inside the final third. Good 1-2 between him and Perry Ing. Slide tackle on him. It's a little bit messy, but Watford here do get a chance to clear their lines, albeit Nelson plays that one back into Rowles. Jacques, it was Colwell in space inside the box, and in less than a minute he continues his goal scoring form from the previous game. 1-0 up inside a minute here at Cardiff City Stadium. And with that goal, for now, we go on top of the championship table. Lovely stuff from us to keep the ball in that first highlight, albeit Watford did win it back and give it straight back to us a few times, but that is a top start. 1-0 up early thanks to Ruben Colwell. And about half an hour off the back of that opening highlight, we do have our next one. That's a poor free kick there from Watford. Good work from Marco Blun. Colwell tried to play that one forward to Brun. Galasay inside the box. Jackalis with a shot. It's deflected. We kind of butchered that. Was a good chance for us off the back of that good work from Marco Blun, but still 1-0 up, a few minutes shy of half-time. And that is half-time in the second game of today's episode. We go into the sheds with a 1-0 lead, and we have had the best chances so far from those two highlights that we have seen Watford, not with many shots, albeit a decent XG, but at the moment, quite happy with how things are going. Jackalis is on a yellow card, but playing quite well, so I think for now, we'll leave him on for the early stages of the second half, and hopefully we can keep up what we did in that previous game against Swansea. This time we get the second half underway with a 1-0 lead. And only a few minutes into the second half, we do have our first highlight of it as a throw-in here for Watford inside the final third, albeit they play that one all the way back to Sepp Vandenberg inside his own half, but not too long off the back of that, they get back on the attack, albeit Perry Ing will head that one to Galasay, plays a searching ball forward there for Marco Blun, doesn't find him, but then does off the back of that Watford clearance, and we find some space here with our striker down this right-hand side. Some good work to find Galasay there. Back flick out to Perry Ing, puts the ball into the mixer. Vandenberg heads it away. We keep it. Colwell with a shot. Comes off the post. Marco Blun with the weakest tap-a-knot chance that you'll ever see. It's saved by the Watford goalkeeper, and we still hold our 1-0 lead. And not too long off the back of that opening chance in the second half, we are down. Watford's in now for a corner, and Lloyd Cully finds the back of the net. It's the only thing they've done so far that we've seen in this game. But Watford grab an equaliser, and that shows us we need to take our chances against these good teams with a few there to make it 2-0, especially Brun with a tap-in just before, and he is on a 6.3 this time, so he will come off. Also, Jackalis, Gordon can come on for him, and Keona Tete will come on for Brun, and hopefully we can find the lead yet again with 35 minutes left, all locked up now at 1-1. And with just over 20 minutes to go in this one, it is a goal kick here for Watford. They pump this deep, and Coventry does win that one in the air, but unfortunately Tete, don't know if he won that, but it goes forward to Vandenberg, and it is Watford now with a chance, and Mateta here is inside the box. Nelson should have had that covered. They get it back, and that is some strike that from Jeremy Bogger. It's a defensive error from Curtis Nelson, I think it's fair to say, but still a heck of a strike. And just like that, we've conceded 2 quick-fire goals, and just like against Peterborough, we now find ourselves losing here. That is a top strike, though nothing the goalkeeper can do, albeit the defence there, not the greatest, I think it's fair to say. We will demand more, and I think it's probably time for us here to make our last couple of substitutions. Perry Ing only going okay. Hardy will come on for him. Mateju for Goodmanson on a red heart. And also Willadita will come on for Urhog Hyde, only going okay as well. And hopefully these guys can find us an equaliser inside these last 20 minutes. And just about into the last 10 minutes of this one, and Watford do have a free kick / goal kick. Mateta gets his head on the end of that one, but thankfully Mateju is back a little bit deeper to tidy that one up. And we get a chance here to try and get something going down our left-hand side, but good slide tackle there does mean that Watford do win the ball back. And Sepp Vandenberg now will play it to Stacey. We try and press them now, which is good, seeing as we did up that defensive line, or should I say pressing line, prior to that game against Derby, and it did show in that prior one as well against Swansea. But Watford for now do keep the ball nicely, but we win it back there thanks to a block cross. And Colwell plays this forward to Tete. He's going to win the ball. It's a tight angle, just puts it wide, and with 10 minutes left, we are still 2-1 down. And shortly off the back of that chance to Tete, we have a throw in here right around the halfway line. That ball, though, a little bit deep for Tete this time. Vandenberg will tidy things up, and Mateta finds himself in a lot of space now down that right-hand side, plays it into Ismail Assar. Turnbull to Bogger with that brilliant goal before to give Watford the lead. We get a slide tackle in on him, but they do keep possession. They play that back to their defence. Thankfully, though, It is Nelson with a header away out to Ben Hardy. And can we create something inside these last 10 minutes to make sure we do grab an equaliser? At home, it's a ball forward for Atete. The goalkeeper clears it. A little bit rough now, rolls out to Gordon. Nice ball for Colwell. He buries it in the bottom right corner. Certainly the star player of this episode. And that might give us a chance now to grab a winner. Inside the last few minutes of this one, that clearance was not the greatest, albeit not too sure if that had much impact. Now I've just stuffed up the replay, unfortunately. Sorry for that, but we did get told we should adjust an opposition instruction, so we'll do that. But 7 minutes left in this one, and we are now locked up at 2-2. Inside the last few seconds of this one, we have just tried to up our passing directness and the tempo as well, and I've kind of stuffed up the end of this episode quite a bit, truth be told, because we also cut out that goal, which was the equaliser on the replay, but thankfully we do walk away with a point from that game, because it would have felt like a very harsh result if we did suffer defeat there. You can see based on stats, and pretty much all of them, we should have won that game, albeit not a bad result in isolation against a team like Watford, but at home would have liked to have picked up a win in that game. We'll tell them we should have really won that game, albeit thanks to the results around us, we do still stay in second place on the championship table, 1 point clear of Sheffield United, but certainly we could have grabbed a little bit of a break there on those teams in the playoff zone if we did pick up the 3 points there, but unfortunately Watford did make the most of their chances, and a late goal to Ruben Cole will make sure that we grab a point there at Cardiff City Stadium. And back in the inbox off the back of those two games in today's episode, as you can see, Galasai developing concerns he wants a new contract. We might do that. He is 30 years old, so in theory we could actually get a younger, potentially better player in for him, albeit we have just exited the transfer window. We are going to have to wait a little while to do that, so I think a new contract, probably not the worst idea. We missed the chance to win against Watford. That is fair enough, because stats do suggest we should have picked up a win there. Our strikers did blow some good chances, especially Marco Blun with a tap-in, which with a little bit more power probably would have found the net and given us a 2-0 lead at the time. And also Connor Coventry did pick up a late injury off the back of us using all our substitutions. He has a stubbed toe. That does mean he is going to be missing for at least our next game, which is coming up fairly shortly at home against Middlesbrough, and he might miss our game after that as well, albeit we have some decent depth in that area with the likes of Rinomota, Pedersen and Davison Savino as well, one of our signings out of Colombia. And a reminder, that does mean we are second on the championship table come the end of today's episode. But if you enjoyed that one, a very good win over Swansea, then a slightly disappointing draw at home against Watford, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Tomorrow we will come back in the month of October. We'll find two interesting games to come back for. Everton, one of the favourites for the championship this season. We did beat them in the FA Cup last season as well, albeit it was when they were down to 10 men for the last 20 minutes. So hopefully that will be an interesting game. Definitely one that we'll come back for. And also Stoke should be a team up there as well, like they were in the championship last season. And of course they do, I think, still have Chris Wood on their books. So that does seem like a good game for a Kiwi to come back for. So we'll come back tomorrow in late October and do an Everton and Stoke double. And until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.